In terms of trends in the UK, we're moving from open banking to open finance. Talk to me a little bit more about the use cases. Is payment still, you called it before, the poster child? Is payment still the poster child? Will it always be the poster child? And what's hot and what's not?
I think right now payments are starting to really drive the use cases and the usage of open banking APIs, and we've seen that in a number of cases in the UK. I think that's going to carry on. That trend will carry on for some time. But what open finance really brings is the ability for customers, whether you're a personal customer or business customer, to get a much more rounded view of your finance or your finances. And I think that model, when you open up to other financial products like investments, savings, pensions, etc., you can really provide a much better service for end customers. And where I think the next iteration is going to be the combination of open finance and payments, because combined you can really help users manage their money much better. Payments on its own is great if you're talking about paying a tax bill or paying for services, but if you want to help people really manage and understand and manage their money better, then the combination of open banking, open finance and payments, that's really where it gets interesting.
Sectors that are going to really fly in open finance, what do you think they might be?
Well, I think it's actually an iteration beyond open finance where I think it gets really interesting. When you look at what I would call open retail, so you look at basket level data on not just the fact that a customer has spent £100 at Tesco's every single item in their basket. If you can get that retail data, combine it with the banking data, combine it with payments, all of a sudden you've got something that's really powerful and really valuable. It can help with merchants with offering promotions. It can help with customers getting automated sort of loyalty schemes and benefits. It's really, really powerful. And that's something I think it'll address one of the key problems we've had with open banking to date, which is there hasn't yet been a really strong alignment of incentives. The banks across the UK and Europe have pushed back to quite a large extent about open banking. But if you start to bring other data sources in, and the banks can use that data to provide better value to customers, not just on their own, but in partnership with FinTechs, then I think you're really onto something, because there'll be aligned incentives, because it's all about providing value to customers. And there are some very clear revenue models if you look at loyalty schemes, or more relevant advertising and promotions, for example.
So is that banks working, collaborating, the word that we love at OBE, with FinTechs, or do you think every bank will want to become a FinTech and just generally?
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And some banks genuinely do want to and quite possibly will become big FinTechs in their own right. We've seen NatWest with Payit, but I think a more realistic and achievable objective for many of the banks is to partner with FinTechs. Banks are good at a number of things, but traditionally they haven't been good at technology. That hasn't been their strong point. I mean, that's the whole point of FinTech. And I think banks partnering with FinTechs is the model that I think will really scale. And I think that's the whole point of open banking and open finance. It's to enable that partnership and that collaboration. I mean, it does also drive competition, but it's all about collaborating together to provide better services to customers.
It's incredible. So we've all of a sudden moved from open banking through open finance to open data. So what are Ozone doing to make all this happen?
Sure. So we're doing two things. One is we are working with a number of regulators and central banks globally to help them define and implement standards and a strong conformance to those standards. And the other thing we're doing is working predominantly through partners to provide APIs that help banks and financial institutions offer an API that is 100% aligned to that standard and meets not just the regulatory requirements, but the commercial requirements of what we call premium APIs. I mean, that's what the banks are really interested in doing. But if they use our software, our platform, they can do that pretty much out of the box at a much lower cost than trying to build their own APIs themselves.